Good morning, Renee. We're waiting for everyone to come in this morning. Go ahead and type in your salutations, and if you can hear me there. Awesome, awesome. Beautiful day today. Good, good. Good. I'm sure if we're having some troubles this morning, a couple other people are sent in that they were coming on, so we'll wait and see here shortly. Good. Well, how's the weather there where you are? Are you in Philly, or I think you moved to another state? Dallas, that's right. How's the weather in Dallas today? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Did you have any challenges getting in? Or you were able to click right in to get in this morning? Okay, I think it's because that 9 o'clock hour that this is a time that a lot of people are doing telecasts. So I might want to go back to 8 a.m. A little earlier. That way we can get in on the front side before all the traffic gets out here. All right, good morning to my YouTubers this morning. I hope things are well for each of you as you come in to this space this morning. Go ahead and type your salutations in there. I see we have a few people watching there. Again, good morning, and I'll come back to you here shortly. So I don't know what's going on the platform, but we're going to go ahead and get started this morning for the sake of time. I value your time. It's important to me that I do that. So we're going to go ahead and get started this morning. All right, wherever you are, just take a big breath in and center yourself and be present to the right here, right nowness of the space that we're in. So as we get started this morning, just take a big breath in and exhale, and then go into your next breath, breathing in and out at your own pace as we start this morning's presentation. Well, good morning, everyone. I thank you for being here this morning. I'm Greg Stanton, also known as Asar. I'm your host. I'm honored to serve as your facilitator each and every Sunday morning here at the Science of Success seminars. This is a space where we explore how spiritual principles are not just ideas, but living realities. Sometimes we can actually experience um, life in a whole nother way when we are aware and when we are participatory and we're present. And today we're going to take a fresh look at Palm Sunday, not just a historical event, but as something that is happening within us. Now, this morning, as we get started, why don't you just I want you to do this exercise with me. I want to begin with something simple. So I want you to take a moment and just notice your hands. Put your hands out there and notice them. Now, if you're comfortable, gently close your hands into a fist. Hold them there for a second and just feel that. There's a sense of effort in that posture, a sense of holding on, a sense of control. Now, slowly open your hands. Let them rest open and notice the difference. There is space there. There is less effort. There is a kind of willingness. Palm Sunday lives right here, right there, between a closed hand and an open one. Now, most of us have moments in life where something becomes clear, or we've had moments in life where uh, something became clear, a moment where we felt aligned, grounded, certain. We said to ourselves, "This is it. I understand now." And it's in this moment, those moments, that something in us opens up. But then life continued. It begins to life. Responsibility showed up, people showed up, old habits showed up, and slowly that clarity began to feel less stable. Not because it wasn't real, but because it had to be lived. That moment, from clarity to challenge, is what Palm Sunday reveals to each of us this morning. Before we go further, let me briefly ground us in the story itself. For anyone who hasn't revisited this story in a while, and we find that this story is something that we all rehearsed when we go back to the old church. Palm Sunday marks the moment when Jesus enters Jerusalem riding on a donkey, and the people greet him with palm branches, laying them in his path and shouting, Hosanna, a cry that means save now, but also expresses recognition and celebration. It's a moment of welcome, of acknowledgement, of something sacred being recognized. And yet, within days, that same crowd, yes, the same crowd shifts, revealing how quickly consciousness can move under pressure. So, Palm Sunday shows us that we are capable of recognizing truth, that's for sure. In the story, the people cry, Hosanna. And that word simply means save now, deliver now. But it also carries a feeling of recognition, like saying, yes, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. Have you ever had that moment? So, metaphysically, this represents a moment in consciousness when we recognize something higher, a new awareness, a deeper truth, a different kind of being, a different way that we're expressing. And in that moment, we are open. In one of the New Thought schools, the Unity teachings, I find this story is not about external events. It's symbolic of what is happening within each of us. Jerusalem itself represents peace in consciousness. Jesus represents the human, you and I, who embodies or have the ability to embody the Christ mind, the higher awareness that's within each of us. And the crowd represents other thoughts. So this is not about something that happened long ago, though many people take this as a literal story. And this, if that's where you are, you can take that position on. But it's about something happening within you. Now, one of the most interesting and honestly human parts of the story is what Jesus rides into Jerusalem on. He doesn't come on a powerful stallion, a white horse. He comes in on a donkey, an ass. Not something that's polished, not something that's perfected, but something real, an ass. Metaphysically, this matters because the donkey, yes, the ass, represents you and I. It represents the natural self. Now, I'm not calling anybody an ass or a donkey, but I'm saying to you to really grasp the message of the story, you have to see what he comes in on is an ass. And they some say stories say comes in on a coat of an ass. So even for those who are fresh in new thought, those who are fresh in transformation, he comes in on you. Now, that part of us, the donkey represents that natural part of us that can be stubborn, conditioned, reactive, not wrong, not bad, just untrained. When Palm Sunday shows us not that this part of us is rejected, it is guided, it is directed. The Christ does not remove your human nature, it works through it. It doesn't get rid of the donkey, it learns how to ride it. And that raises an important question this morning. What is leading your life? Is it your habits? Is it your overreactions? or your awareness? Is it your Christ consciousness? Now, let's come back to the palms that we were talking about. Because we often picture palms as palm branches being waved when you read the story. But we miss something simple. You already have palms. You already have palms, your hands. So Palm Sunday is not just something we that was happening out there. It's something that is happening through you, as you. Because the palms are not just about celebration, they're about posture. How you meet life. Because you cannot receive with closed hands. You cannot remain open to truth while gripping control at the same time, while holding on to old beliefs, old patterns, old thoughts. You can't receive. And this is where surrender, not surrender as if you're giving up, but we're looking at surrender as releasing the need to force life into your expectations. It is the willingness to say, I don't have to make this happen. Yes, I can allow something higher to move through me as me. That is the real meaning of the Palm Sunday. Now, this brings us directly into what we're actually working with internally. And that's what I like to call the sin consciousness versus the Christ consciousness. If the palms represent openness and surrender is the posture that keeps us available, then what is it that pulls us back into this closing again? In unity, we talk about two ways of thinking. Sin consciousness is not about wrongdoing, it's about a mindset. It says, I need to fix this. I need to make this happen. Something is missing. Christ consciousness, on the other wise, says, be still. It is already present. You're already connected. And this is where the real tension begins. It is easy to say Hosanna on Sunday. But what happens on Wednesday? When everything feels aligned, it's easy to say Hosanna. When your hands are raised, when the Hammond B3 organ is going, when the insights are fresh. But what happens when Wednesday comes? When the hands come down? When things get quiet? When they return to the sense of normalcy? When it's just you and your thoughts? What happens? This is the moment when we feel the pull between these two ways of being, okay? One reaching for control and one inviting us to remain open. And this is where that inner tension shows itself most clearly when the hands come down and the moments get quiet. We feel the pull between those two ways of being in the story. The same crowd that says Hosanna later cries, crucify. That same voice that praises you, and in a moment later, it could be that voice that's raking you over the coals, that inner voice. Not because truth has changed, but it's because staying open requires surrender. Because sustaining that awareness asks something of us. Now, metaphysically, crucifixion represents resistance. Okay? It's the moment we return to the familiar patterns of thinking, of doing things, because transformation feels uncomfortable. So you want to go back. You're tempted to turn back. You're tempted to quit pressing forward to the higher mark of transformation. It is when sin consciousness reaches for control. We stop resting in what we had just recognized. So it's not that we lose the Christ consciousness, it's that we stop choosing it when it asks more of us than we are ready to give. Think about it. The ideal the possibility that requires us to do something different is the asking more. So salvation is not something that comes from the outside of us. It is the availability of a new consciousness within each of us. But surrender is what allows us to remain in that state. Surrender is not just giving up. It is releasing the belief that everything depends on me. Everything depends on control. Everything depends on the sensory realm. What I can see, what I can hear, what I can touch, or what we call reality. So if surrender is what allows us to remain in that higher consciousness, that higher awareness, then where is the awareness leading us, you may ask? And all of this is leading somewhere. It's leading to Jerusalem. Now, I'm not talking about going overseas. When you look at the metaphysical meaning of Jerusalem, and if you have the metaphysical Bible, that's one of the Unity document resource. It has all of the words that are used in the Bible in it, and it gives the metaphysical meaning of it. So when we look at the Unity's understanding, Jerusalem represents the habitation of peace, a settled state of consciousness where harmony, order, spiritual awareness are established within, not without. So this is not a physical destination, it is an inner arrival. It's what happens in you when you allow yourself to go inside. Okay? Um, you stop fighting, you stop resisting every moment, and you start living from the deeper awareness. You accept life as it is, but you don't become complacent in it, but you do settle in to a place of contentment, a place in you where reaction no longer runs the show. I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm behind, I'm running a little ahead. It's a place where fear is no longer in charge, and where you are no longer pulled in every direction by shifting thoughts. That's the crowd. Jerusalem, my friends, is the consciousness that remains steady in each of us, even when life is not. Life it fluctuates, but you don't have to fluctuate. You can remain steady. You can remain the storm. You can call the storm when you go inside. Now, it is peace that is not dependent on conditions when we talk about going to Jerusalem. Stability that is not shaken by circumstances. It's an inner alignment that comes from living in an awareness rather than a reaction. Living in an awareness rather than a reaction. And it's important to understand this. The movement between openness and resistance is not failure. I mean, when you're fluctuating back and forth, there's not failure there. It is a process of learning how to stay open, how to hold it open. It's like holding your eyes open. If you go to get an eye exam, the doctor may say, hold your eyes open, and you find yourself having difficulty because you have a natural blink response. And so that's the same way you have a natural response because you are held in this body that responds to what it hears, what it sees, what it feels, what it experiences. But you got to learn to hold the awareness and not let this external stimuli move you. And that's what we go into the practice of meditation. We practice being still. You know, that is the work. Going back and forth between clarity and struggle, between trust and control. That is not a sign that something is wrong with you. That is the work. Growth is not never closing. Okay? Again, growth is not about never closing. You're going to close. You're going to hold on to things. It's about noticing when you do. Know when you're reacting and not responding. You want to know when you do and have the willingness to open again, to say, okay, that's not the best choice. Let me try this again. So here's the practice for you this week. When you notice yourself tightening, or you notice yourself overthinking, trying to control everything, just pause and take a big breath in and release it. You can open your hands and take a big breath and simply return, not by force, but by a willingness. That's what we're looking at this week. We're looking at the idea of Palm Sunday representing the humanness of us and what's riding us now. Are we being ridden by conditions? Are we being ridden by beliefs, old thoughts that are steering us? Or are we being ridden by a new consciousness, the Christ consciousness that moves through life with the realization that I and the Father are one? If you've seen the Father, if you've seen the Son, you've seen the Father. You realize that you can do all things through this Christ consciousness that strengthens you. It's not a personality, it's not a person that strengthens you, it's a consciousness. What strengthened the personality of personage of Jesus was his consciousness, his alignment. So Palm Sunday, when we say save now, we're not looking for someone to come to deliver us, but we're realizing that this consciousness, this Christ consciousness, is available to all of us, each and every one of us, and we choose to align with it. So, as we come to a close this morning, I pray that you are looking at Palm Sunday a little different. You don't have to run out and purchase the palms because you already have them right there. Palm. Your life is in the palm of your hand. Your ability to release what has been, to be open to receive the possibility of what can be. So as we continue to create space like this, spaces for reflection, growth, and shared insight, we remember that life itself moves through circulation. Nothing in life is meant to be held onto tightly. Things change, seasons change. Go with the flow. Everything flows, so you must flow. What we receive, we are called to express. What we nourish and nourishes us, we are invited to share. And in that same spirit this morning, of open hands, not closed ones. If something in this message has supported you, stretched you, or met you in a meaningful way, I invite you this morning. I invite you to sow a seed into this ministry in a way that reflects the alignment. You're not sowing out of obligation. You're not sowing because of a persuasive statement I make. You're not sowing because I have a need and expressing greed, but you're sowing as an expression of participation in the flow of giving and receiving. The principle, circulation. Things come to me to flow through me. And so, too many of us, things come to us and we stop the dam because we hold on to all of it. We may let a little bit go, and so only a little will come in. And so sometimes when you're having a dry season, you got to check the dam. You got to check. For such a long time you just stocked up, you're stored up. You didn't necessarily give out, and now nothing's coming in. All you got to do is unstop the dam, allow something to go out. And that's why I always say when I have a build or I have something that it requires of me to release, I say money out, money in, resources out, resources in. And that's important. So if this ministry has been a blessing to you today or sometime throughout the past week, and you want to sow a seed, you can do so this morning by using the Cash App, or the Cash App or the Zelle, and this is the same phone number, the ministry phone number, 708-368-1076. Again, it's 708-368-1076. Before we close, I want to share a story about circulation. On last week, after I finished the presentation, I went to another ministry, and after the service, they had a great meal, and I just they had so much left over, so I decided to take some with me, and I really was gonna. I was looking forward to eating it. I had some mashed potatoes, I had some meatloaf, and some rolls, and I was going to chow down on that a little later. I saw it in my mind's eye. I could taste it. I could smell it being warmed up in the microwave. But when I pulled up to my building, because I decided to bring it home in order to put it in the refrigerator, because the heat index was quite high last week. As soon as I got out my car, I saw a little commotion in the front of the building. I live in a secured building, and I saw one of the residents was attempting to move a individual's housing challenged out from in front of the building. He was sleeping there, and he was panhandling. And so when he saw me walk up, he saw me get out of my car, so he assumed I assumed that he was assumed that that was money walking, and he said something to me, and I initially responded with "I don't," and then I heard what he said. Then he said again, "No, I don't want no money. Can I have that food you got?" And I looked at him, and my initial response was, "Man, I ain't give you my food." And then thought about I thought about the lessons I teach. I had Earlier that morning I talked about circulation, and I talked about trust, that source provides my every need. And so I turned around and I said, "Here you go, brother." Then I went upstairs and I grabbed a napkin and some plasticware, and I came down looking for him, and he was across the street. And as I came across the street, he had rice all on the side of his face, and mashed potatoes. He had gobbled it up. And I said, "Oh man, I just was coming back to give you this so you can enjoy the meal." But he had enjoyed the meal. And I didn't miss a meal that day. I didn't miss a meal at all last week. So I want to just reaffirm for you, what you circulate always come back to you. I always have food available to me. I always have what I need because I circulate. And I'm asking you this morning to operate in the principle of circulation. Now, in closing this morning, let us go into prayer. Just take a big breath in. And I first want to thank you, those of you who are participating in the offertory. I heard the electronic plate go off in there. So let's just be present to right here, right now. There is one life, one presence, one intelligence, expressing itself as all, expressing itself as you and I. That life is whole, that life is present, that life is active right here, right now. And that life is expressing as you, as me. We affirm in this moment that we are open in mind, open in heart, open in awareness. We release the need to control outcomes, and we trust the deeper intelligence within us to guide us, to direct us, and to sustain us, not just today, but in the days and weeks to come. We allow ourselves to remain available to truth, not only in moments of clarity, but in moments of challenge. We rest in the knowing that peace is already established within us. We choose to live from this place, and so it is. Ashe. Amen. So as you move through this week, notice your moments when you feel open, when you feel yourself close, when the hands are up praising because you're getting what you desire. And notice when the hands come down and the shoulder slumps over. And gently ask yourself right now, can I let go of the need to control, the need to fix, the need to figure everything out? Open my hands and allow the Christ mind within me to guide this moment. You know why? Because that's the real practice. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your presence. Thank you. And if you'd like to stick around for a few moments of shared reflection and conversation, or simply to hear what opened up in others, I would invite you to join us in the green room this morning. It's a space to connect, to listen, and to deepen what we've all explored together. I truly love to hear what resonated with you. So let us go over to the green room. Oh, first I'll say to my family that joined us by way of YouTube this morning. I see you guys there. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Ray, Queen Mother. Good morning, Mom. I'm glad you all were able to jump over onto the the YouTube platform. For some reason, everyone wasn't able to get in. We have parts of our family showed up in the Zoom room. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Genevieve. Good morning, Rachel. Good morning, Renee. Good to see each of you this morning. I pray something. Renee, thank you so much for dropping that number in the chat for those who are following that 708-368-1076. Awesome. Two heads are better than one, especially when they're not on the same body. So let's go into the green room. The floor is open. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. If you're in the YouTube channel, go ahead and type it in this morning's message. We were dealing with the idea of the title of the message was "When the Hands Come Down." The real meaning of Palm Sunday. And we were really exploring how it's easy to have your hands lifted up when you're in the group participation, when things are going well, when you're petitioning for something, when the thing you desire is showing up. It's to clap, to praise. But come midweek, when it's a different story and the hands begin to close or go down, what do you do then? What do you do then? Do you allow your old self to ride you, control you, or do you allow your Christ consciousness to become even more prevalent and expressive? All right, I'm looking here. Or anybody, did you get anything out of this morning? Anybody want to share anything? Yeah, I don't see any reactions to the message. So I believe that you're just meditating on it. But I'm not going to just hold you for the sake of holding you. We're right at the bottom of the hour. If you're in St. Louis this morning, you could join me at the Christ Church First Church, where I'll be teaching there. It's a unity church, and they meet at the I think it's the Bridgewood um, Community Center. Yeah, what ice hockey is. So come on out and join us there. All right, Rachel's an awesome teaching. Are the palms only raised on Sundays? Right. Do you only raise your hand? Or do you only show the palms? Okay, when everything is going good. Okay, or when you're ready to receive, or do you go through life with closed fists, closed palms, holding on to what you have? And if you're doing that, you're not allowing for anything else to come through. So even your beliefs, you gotta let go. You gotta be open to receive. That's really important. Open to receive. Are you open to receive? I had a little man around here that I have a little image that represents being open at the top. Where did I put that little man? Well, anyway, inside of the other school of thought, New Thought, which is the science of mind, you have a statement that is often made: be open at the top. And we want to remain open at the top, not closed, like closed fists. Because if you open up at top, source can drop things in on you, okay, and resonate through you. That's important. Okay, let me see here. Thank you for that. Okay. Well, I don't see anything. I don't see any comments. I don't see any questions. So I believe that you've got what you needed to get out of today. Here's what I will do. For those of you who was able to get in perhaps later than you wanted to, because of technology. I will edit this evening and I will get it out to you by noon tomorrow. So that way you get the full message and you can go back and recapitulate. Well, there you have it. I enjoy your presence as usual. I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. We have morning meditations. Now, at morning meditations, we start with a positive word. We pray and we affirm what we desire to experience in the day to come. At the conclusion of morning meditation, I often capture it by creating a audio version, and I send it out to those who have been in participation or those who requested. So you can go back through your day and get that. Well, good morning, Carolyn. I see your hand there. I don't know if I missed it. But you have the mic, Carolyn.
No, good morning. Good morning, Asad.
Good.
And good morning, everyone.
Yes,
Um,
Hosanna.
yes, Hosanna, Hosanna. Listen, yeah, I did have some trouble getting on this morning. As a matter of fact, I had to leave out again because I lost the audio and I had to come back in. But my reflection this morning is you were teaching on Jerusalem, and the peace and of letting go and not having to be in control. A song came to me last week and it was really interesting for me. The title of the song is I Forgive You.
Hmm.
And the subheading is I forgive you to set myself free.
Hmm.
I will no longer hold you hostage to me. And it really caused me to look at some things that I thought I had released. I thought I had let go of some things. But then I realized as I was listening to the song, it's like, oh man, I need to step outside of this and really look at what am I really thinking inside. So
Yeah.
as you were teaching on the peace of Jerusalem this morning, um, the thought came to me, when it says pray for the peace of Jerusalem, we've always thought of it as praying for peace in Jerusalem, right? Praying that peace will be in Jerusalem.
Yes.
But it came to me a different way. And I had to look up the word Jerusalem, right? The
Yes.
city of peace. So if Jerusalem is peace, why am I praying for the peace of Jerusalem? And then it hit me, no, what that scripture is really saying to me now is pray for the peace of Jerusalem. It's like me saying, pray for the joy that I saw in my mom. Let
Yes.
me experience the joy that's in my mom. So I started thinking about it differently. No, I want the peace of Jerusalem in me. I want the peace of Jerusalem expressing through me. And then the other scripture came, blessed are the peacemakers, for
Mm,
they shall see God. And
mm,
and I thought, when you were giving the metaphysical definition of Jerusalem, right? And I thought, man, how how our thoughts change and our understanding changed just by getting a different perspective of a word.
yes.
If Jerusalem is the city of peace, I don't need to pray that peace is in Jerusalem. It is peace.
Yes.
So now I pray that the peace of Jerusalem abide in me. So
Yes.
thank you for the teaching this morning.
And it's a peace that surpasses all under.
Under
See, the
yes,
understanding is the sensory realm. What you can see, what you can hear, what you can taste, what you can touch. All of those things disturb your peace if you give too much presence to them. And so it's really important, metaphysically, like physically, the city of Jerusalem is being bombarded. Physically, metaphysically,
right.
the city of Jerusalem that's in you is constantly being bombarded with outside thoughts. But here's what
Hmm.
you have this system that's around it that none of the bombs can get into that city. Jerusalem is a place of peace
Yes,
that surpasses all understanding. So that's why we have to go inside. That's when the Old Testament talks about the going into the Holy of Holies. That's the Jerusalem, going into the place of peace, your sanctuary. It's not a place over there, it's a place in here.
Yes,
So we have to take back this belief that Jerusalem is a place we visit out there versus Jerusalem being a place in here. Awesome.
exactly.
Bringing that up. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. I think I got one more new message here. Yeah. Renee said, very good perspective. Awesome teaching. Are the palms only raised on Sundays? For many people, only on Sundays and only once a year. Yeah, that's true. Awesome. So that's all I have. Let me look in the YouTube channel one more time to see. It's amazing how quickly the crowd changed. Yes, even for ourselves. Imagine when you're cooking with fire, when you have a resolution, you're resolute in something, and everything in you is going in the same direction. You made a conviction, you're going to do this. Your body said yes, we're going to do this. But then halfway into the week, your body start craving things you know you should not be eating, things like that. You begin to think stinking thoughts, thinking, and that's the crowd. That's the sensory self, and it changes quickly. So you can't go through life um, listening and looking at the crowd, because when you're talking about transformation, you're not pleasing the crowd. And the crowd will turn on you any moment and say, crucify that thought, crucify Christ. It's this crucify the thought. We often think of crucifixion of Jesus, the physical person, but it's not the crucifixion of the physical person here. It's the crucifixion of the Christ consciousness, and it's always being crucified by the crowd, the sensory self. To be carnally minded is death, it says. So let us embrace it. Great point, Cheryl. The crowd can change. Queen Mother said, Grand Rising. Yes, on this Sunday, this Ra Day, rising. The Commissions had a term for the sun, the energy of the sun, the principles of the sun as Ra. It didn't worship it, but it came in alignment with it. And so it's interesting when we say rising, we're saying rising with the going up and going down are the same. Ra, its name is worthy to be praised. Awesome. All right. Okay. That's all I have this morning. I will see you guys on tomorrow morning. I will make sure I get this out to you all again. I really want you to consider, if this message has been a blessing to you and you're on the YouTube channel, hit that like button. Okay. And make sure that if you're looking for a good place to call, this is your spiritual community. I can think of no better place than Oasis everywhere. So each and every Sunday, I will begin to open up the doors of the virtual church that we can expand Oasis everywhere. And where is it, you may say, is located? Right there where you are. We're not limited by zip code, area code, nothing limited. We are together. So if you are looking for a great community to become part of, reach out to me and I'll share more with you, because we would love to have you as part of our community. Now, in days to come, we're moving from virtual. That is, maybe I'll visit your city. We have a number of people in certain cities, and I know Mississippi is growing, so we have to find a central place, and maybe I'll come there and we'll have a time of fellowship. My idea was this year we meet in Chicago. I may not pull that off this year, but maybe next year we'll all meet in Chicago for a weekend, and we get to see the faces behind the names. We get to feel the essence of the voices that come in. So we're not just a talking head. I'm not just a talking head. We're a community. We're expanding. So if you don't have a good church, people, you say church home. If you don't have a spiritual community that you want to be part of, here's one that you can consider. Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl, for that. Miss Rogers, for excellent teaching. All right, all right. All right, you guys, I got to get going, get down the road. I will chat with you guys in the 6 o'clock hour on tomorrow. Again, reach out to me if you want to be part of something that's expanding and that is great. It won't be the same without you. Peace. Have a wonderful day.